Hey, good morning. Good morning from Voices from the Dirt Road. Hey, it has been a busy week. I know as all the farmers out there, just like me, things are moving around on the farm pretty good now. A lot of guys are getting their crops in. In addition to that, there's a bunch of craziness still going on in the world when it comes to agriculture. Again, I just wanted to say good morning. We're going to get through this past week on my farm. Just kind of let you know that behind the scenes, I'm just like you. I'm still out there trying to make it work. But this week, I had a great opportunity to go and buy some cows up in Red Hill. That's up in Tennessee / Kentucky. Uh, can we just throw that picture up? I bought a outstanding bred heifer up there at Red Hill. Great people up there. I tell you, if you're actually looking for good quality stock to start your farm or continue to get a great bloodline into your farm, I encourage you to reach out to Red Hill. They do an awesome job up there, and I look forward to going up every year and continue to build my herd. And but 157 there, she's gonna be having a calf here in January, and we're looking forward to that addition on our farm here in '07 Farms down here in Georgia. So again, things are busy. So let's just jump right into it. If I'm not mistaken, today, let me look at my calendar down there. Today is October 31st. I what's significant about October 31st? This afternoon, all the little kids going to be out for Halloween. We need to make sure we keep those guys careful, and we also need to take in consideration that the government has been shut down now for 31 days. That is just craziness out there. And now we're starting to feel the real effects of our government being shut down. If you see behind me, you can tell there I'm still in the transition phase from being doing some years in the military to now having my own farm and cattle ranch and all of those kind of things. So I got to get some more pictures developed of me with the cows and me out farming versus all this military stuff. One of the pictures that are directly behind me, the blue one there, that's kind of right over my head there, is me in Afghanistan. So just give me a little time. We're trying to make some improvements to our show. I think you probably can hear me a lot better because I got a brand new microphone here. We had some people telling me that the sound was a little off, but stick with us, and we're trying to get better and better every week. I see one of the key things this week is going to be great. At the end of the show, the latter part of the show, that we actually have a guest, Mr. Kennedy. He's going to be on, and I'm looking forward to having that discussion with him. And I ask you to be prepared to send us questions. Right now, we only been on about 4 minutes, and it looks like it's a little bit more than 100 plus people are actually watching the show. As you know, the way this show is live, so we let it play out for at least 30 to 40 minutes. And then after that, it goes up on all our platforms, and you can download it or look at it at your convenience. But what we try to do here from Voices from the Dirt Road is give you up-to-date information in a concise way that you can actually use it and then move forward with it in any of your decisions that you're trying to make on your farm or what you're trying to do there in the urban areas. A couple of things that are actually going on. Big things that are going on is one, today, 31 days, like I said, government shutdown. The biggest sticking point out there is this is a payday for our veterans. I'm not sure if they're going to get paid. This is a payday for many other federal workers that are working at the airport. I'm not sure if they're going to get paid. But the thing that's actually in the news the most is SNAP. SNAP, if you don't know it, SNAP is used to be called food stamps. Now it's how we feed our less fortunate, kids in the United States. I got some notes here in front of me, but excuse me. In the United States, nationwide, 42 million people depend on SNAP. And if we don't get it figured out today in Congress, 42 million people will go hungry, because that SNAP money will not hit their EBT cards, or however different states have it set up. But here in Georgia, they have an EBT card. Now, one of the things that I was briefed earlier today or yesterday is that some states are moving forward and saying, "Oh, from a state point of view, we're going to try to cover this cost and do those kind of things." I'm not sure if you actually know it. I live here in Georgia. I actually live in Northwest Georgia, but I live here in Georgia. And at this moment, Georgia is saying that they don't actually have the funds to cover it. So if the federal government don't come through, we're going to have some very hungry people, and that's unfortunate. One of the things I learned at a conference I was at 2 or 3 days ago is here in Georgia, people get their SNAP payments at different times of the month. And the next time a SNAP payment is supposed to come out for the great people here in Georgia will be November 5th. So that simply means that if you have SNAP still left on your card from last month, you can still use that. I know there's a myth out there that say you couldn't. That's not true. You can. So hopefully here in Georgia, we get it figured out today, but also we get it figured out at the federal level so that the states don't have to do that. But if they don't, hopefully here in Georgia, we get it figured out before November 5th so we can take care of people. But here in Georgia, 1.4 million people, which is roughly a little bit 12.6% of Georgians, actually are dependent on SNAP. And if you don't know, and I said this the other day when I was at a conference type situation, is this is why it's so important for us to pass the Farm Bill. We call it the Farm Bill, and that's the name that was given to it. But if you actually look at the Farm Bill itself, I think it's 84% of the money that's in the Farm Bill is the money that pays for SNAP around the United States. So when we talk to our brothers and sisters that live in our cities, live in our urban areas, the farmers, the rural community farmers, and the urban areas need to come together on this particular subject and say, look, we need to get a brand new farm bill. We need to ensure that this farm bill gets passed because it helps farmers, but also this is the means that we feed our children throughout the United States. So I just wanted to make sure that I got that out there so that all of us can get on the same sheet of music, because I believe that here in the near future, more and more people are going to be hurting from this government shutdown, because right now, as of I think it's 7:09 this morning, I don't see anything where the two sides are coming together to come to a solution. So I'm going to kind of pause right there before we really jump into everything. I see we roughly got about 200 plus people that are watching us live, which is great. And I know that number is going to continue to rise. I would ask you, if you have any questions, just type them in, and I'll jump right to them. So let's jump right into SNAP. I kind of mentioned a little bit, but I do have a clip. I think it's important that we all understand what is SNAP and get a baseline. So with that, team, will you play that first clip for me? I don't think the clip is playing. Look like we're having some issues trying to get that clip to play. The bottom line is, like I kind of already mentioned, and team, if you get it to play, then just let me know. Just jump back in, and we'll kind of go from there. I see the little circle spinning there. Look like we're having some computer issues this morning, but that's part of doing stuff live. That's what makes it fun, is because you never know what's actually going to happen behind the scenes. So at the end of the day, SNAP is a program, like I kind of already mentioned, is a program that feeds our less fortunate children and families. And right now, this program is in jeopardy of not being funded here. Here we go. like it's going to be one of those mornings. Are any of those things planned for us, team? Well, if we can't get it to play, that's fine. I'll kind of talk it, and then we'll see, can we get the next videos to come up when we start talking about soybeans. And if we have to, we'll come back to it later on in the show. It's not a big deal. Like I said, guys, that's why being live is so fun. It's right now we roughly got about 350 people that are watching us. The time now is 7:11. And we have already had the little gremlins jump in here and trying to make our videos not play. But I got a dynamic team that works behind me to they'll work those things out and kind of go from there. So I'm just going to jump on into what's going on in the world of soybeans. The president this past week actually went over to the Far East. Looked like he had a pretty good trip. And it looks like he did cut a deal when it comes to soybeans. The problem with the deal when it came to soybeans, if I'm not mistaken, I asked somebody to check me, is the deal that we have is actually less than the soybeans that China bought from us last year. So I'm still a little confused on how we're being able to say that this is a win or not. But again, I'm not a soybean farmer. My brother is. He's more on the row crop side of the house. But when I look at the data, it looks as if, based on what China has said they will actually buy from us at this point, is actually less than what they actually bought last year, way less than what they actually bought last year. But I think we have a clip where we have some clips where they're talking about the soybean thing. So Adam, can we get any of those videos to work this morning on the soybeans? It's one of those days, guys. It is one of those days. For whatever reason, none of the clips are playing. I can see Adam down at the bottom of my screen pulling his hair out. but I'm confident that we're going to be able to get it there. I tell you what we're going to do. You know, the cool thing about being in the military teaches you to think on your feet, continue to move forward. And I'm going to let my team work behind the scenes on all these videos that we have, and we're just going to move forward to bringing on our guests, because I can see our guest down there, Mr. Kennedy, and then after I finish the conversation with Mr. Kennedy, if my team tell me that we can get those videos to work, then we'll go back and do it in reverse. I see right now we roughly got about 500 people on live. This is a great time to bring Mr. Kennedy in. Adam, can we bring Mr. Kennedy up on the floor? Mr. Kennedy, how you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How you doing?
Good, Mr. Kennedy. Let me just stop for a second and say thank you. Mr. Kennedy, you can see the little gremlins were eating me up this morning on these videos.
Absolutely. That's part of it.
But guess what? That's is not about the videos, is not about all that. This show is about getting information out to our farmers, to people that want to better understand agriculture. And at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. And I'm so proud to have you on the show. Mr. Kennedy is a leader in agriculture. Mr. Kennedy is a good friend of mine. I consider Mr. Kennedy a mentor because I think most of y'all guys know I got out of the military about 2.5 years ago. And Mr. Kennedy was one of the first people that actually I met and kind of helped me put this cattle farm on the right path to success. So with that, Mr. Kennedy, can you just take a few minutes and kind of tell us about yourself, and we'll jump into some questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Mr. Shawn, once again for having me. Handy Kennedy, our family legacy and pharmacy started in 1869 in a little small town called Cobbtown, Georgia, about an hour away from Savannah, Georgia. So my family been in farming, whether it's row cropping, raising cattle, since 1869. So we have learned a lot, made a lot of mistakes, and so what I have learned over the years by partnering and working in collaboration with our land grant university, Fort Valley State University, University of Georgia, Tuskegee, and South Carolina State, and even the USDA. Take that information that I have learned from them and basically try to pass it on to other farmers that I meet in order to keep them from making the same mistakes I have made, and also, just how to avoid landmines. And so, in the space of agriculture, we basically need each other. And so, whatever I can do to help collaborate and bring farmers together to work collectively as a group, that's what it's going to take moving forward, especially
Yeah,
for small and mid-sized farmers to be able to work together as a collective group and help each other out in times of need.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Out here in this world of farming or agriculture, it's tough. And um, you know, um, they teach it at the university, which is great, but until you can get hands on, you really don't know what you don't know. And then I would just say to every farmer out there, young or old, get you a mentor, get you somebody that you can reach out to and bounce things off of, because just like Mr. Kennedy said, why make the same mistakes that somebody can already tell you, hey, learn from this, and you won't waste a whole bunch of money. Because in agriculture today, this is a very expensive business model that we in. Um, as we know, cattle prices right now are are falling based on the Argentina thing. Cattle prices are kind of up, down, in between, and at the end of the day, we still have people talking about beef prices are too high at the grocery store, and those two things are not really equal. Ms. Kennedy, I know you raise cattle, but I also think you are also do a couple of other unique things off your farm. Can you kind of tell everybody about that, please?
Well, mostly we are cow-calf operation, and we also do grow produce, vegetables on the farm also. And so our basically my vision for our particular farm would just make the farm profitable. Wherever we had land available, how is this piece of property or this land that we are giving stewardship of, how can we make it profitable? And how can we use it to the best possible means to be able to serve the farm and to serve the community and the consumers that purchase our product. So, yeah, so we like to say mostly beef cattle, but we do grow produce also.
Excellent. And what part of the state are you in? Are you down there around Savannah, or are you in the middle of the state?
Yeah, southeast, we about an hour from Savannah, heading back towards Macon. So we're
Okay.
right between Macon and Savannah.
Okay, right between. I know that I know that area well. I got some family members that live down in Savannah, so we go back and forth quite a bit. Um, and when you let's talk the cattle side of it. Are you running Black Angus, Red Angus? What are you doing when it comes to your cattle operation?
Mostly we run Black Angus. Our base is Black Angus. I have had family have very success in raising Black Angus. I have yet to go to a backgrounder or anybody when I get ready to sell my cows or calves to them and say, well, we don't really want Black Angus. So that's why Black Angus did a magnificent job of marketing Black Angus cows. So that's why we basically stick with a foundational base of Black Angus cattle.
Okay. And if I in my team told me that not only are you doing so let me back up. On my farm right now where I'm at, I'm still I raise a calf. We didn't take the calf to sell, but we take him to the sale barn. Are you doing that, or are you doing something differently? And if you are, can you expand on that?
Yes, I'm diversified. I kind of do a little bit of it all. So basically, the main operation is like I said, a cow calf operation where we basically take our calves and we sell them to different markets. And so one thing that I mainly focus on when I work with farmers is profitability and quality. And what I mean by that, we do it because we love it. In order to get this next generation involved in farming, we need to show them how to make a profit at farming. And so one of the things that I tell people, first thing you have to decide, are you a hobby farmer or a farmer for profit? And so if you decide to be a farmer for profit, then you have to focus on quality. I mean, that's the main focus on quality. Everybody deserves quality products. Whether you selling cattle to a backgrounder, he wants quality products. He wants what we call low risk cattle, where we basically make sure that they have the basic, that they're castrated, they have 2 rounds of vaccination, they've been dewormed, they've been put on, they've been preconditioned, and also what you want to look at in addition to that is that make sure there's basically 8 things that I do on my farm on a consistent basis. The first thing I do is marketing. First thing, you need to know your customer.
All right.
You need to find out who. What I mean by that, start with the end in mind. You go, who do you want to sell your cattle to? Do you want to sell your cattle to a sale barn, or do you want to sell it to a backgrounder, or do you want to sell your beef to a butcher, or do you want to sell your own beef? So once you know your customer, then you start building a vision to make sure that you can meet the needs of that customer. And so once I get my market, I know my customer down, then I get me a records keeping system, because you have to keep records. It's like the old saying, you can't improve what you don't measure. So you have to measure, so you have to keep records. And then the next thing I do is basically, it kind of starts and ends with Mother Nature. When you get down to it, it starts and ends with Mother Nature. And what I mean by beginning is the soil health. When you are a cattle farmer, especially a cow calf operation, you have to use good soil health management programs.
Yes.
And so on my farm, on my farm, that's where we start. And we adhere to the 6 principles of soil health. Making sure you use cover crops, make sure that you keep the ground covered, make sure you use a diversification of different plants. And so that's the second thing that we do is basically soil health.
Let me ask you about that, Mr. Kennedy, before you go on, because I remember when I first talked to you, and I think one of the gentlemen that was with you when you came up here to my farm was from Fort Valley, if I remember correctly. And we were out there in my pastures talking about rotational grazing. We were talking about what type grass that I have out there. But I think, I'm not sure, was it in that meeting or in the other meetings where the question came up, are you in the cattle business, or are you in the raising grass or growing grass business? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have a good pasture system, rotational system, it's going to be very hard for you to raise good quality cattle.
Yeah, so you have to be in both, and so if you want to, and I keep going back to this, if you want to create value added commodities to add value to your consumer, you're going to have to be in the marketing business, the record keeping business. You're going to have to be in the soil business. You're going to have to be in the forage management business. You're going to have to be in the genetics management business. You're going to have to be in the herd management business. And you're going to have to be in nutrient management. And all of those, you have to have risk management in each one of those different portions of a farm. So a farmer is real complicated. If you want to be and operate at a level where that you are producing consistent quality product, it takes a lot. You have to continually make improvements, small incremental changes every year, because at the industry, we always say that yesterday's best in the calendar, it's today's average.
Okay. Yep.
So you just have to constantly stay up on all of the latest technology, and like I say, have those partnerships with the land grant university. They're just a great resource for collaboration with, because they do a lot of research, and they can help you make decisions on your farm, for you won't be making the same mistake they made while they were in doing their research project.
Yeah, Mr. Kenny, let me ask you this, and you hit it right on the head, developing those partnerships. But before I actually ask that question, I just want to acknowledge and thank all the people that are actually watching you, Mr. Kennedy. They're not watching me; they're watching you. It's roughly 800 people right now live watching you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I mean, I'm just saying I'm just saying we just.
I don't know if they knew that dog you was John F. Kennedy or somebody, but that when we said Mr. Kennedy's going to be on here, people are coming on and they want to learn. And Mr. Kennedy, let me just ask this question, because we try to be transparent on this show 100%, because these are voices from the dirt road. When I got into this cattle business after being out of the military, I struggled to find somebody that looked like me that was actually in the cattle business. And when I say in the cattle business, not a hobby farmer, but actually in it for real. And that's how I ended up finding you. So is it others like us, or is this a small niche in the great state of Georgia?
No, there are several of us. Well, first of all, let me just say that I'm truly blessed and thankful that I have met some amazing people when I started really farming for profit. Like I say, Fort Valley, it was Dean Noble from Fort Valley. I mean, he really poured a lot into me. I mean, where he gave up his times on Saturdays to go out and show us how to select bulls with good genetic potential. I mean, he spent a lot of time, personal time, away from his family with farmers, getting us together. Say, hey, we're going to go and help y'all pick out some nice bulls. Fort Valley, you got Dr. Whitley at Fort Valley, you got Dr. Lattimore. University of Georgia, I had individuals like Dr. Jones at University of Georgia. I had Jason Duggan, who deals with BQA and right. Showing how to select heifers, how to look at heifers and just look at the way they walk to determine, is this heifer going to add value to your farm. And that's what it's all about. Every decision you have to make, is this going to add value to my farm? I know I'm gonna miss a few people, but I have learned so much from farmers themselves. I just going and visit farming and looking at how they're doing things and taking a little bit of what I learned from each farmer and basically implementing it on my farm when I seen it was working for them, making it profitable for them. So I kind of gathered all that information when I visit farm. Each farm I visit, I can learn something from. And I take the information and say, how can I help the next farmer that I meet to be better at what they're doing?
Exactly. I tell you, Mr. Kennedy, just so happened today, I'm headed to Tuskegee this afternoon as their homecoming, and everybody else is going to the football game. That's what I'm doing, Mr. Kennedy. You remember Warren? I can't remember Warren's last name. He teaches at Tuskegee University over there in the ag program.
Yes, I do.
I'm actually going to homecoming, and I'm going out to look at some cows.
Okay. All right. Good use of time. All right. Absolutely.
At the end of the day, I think what you and I are both saying to everybody out there, take every opportunity for professional development to actually learn your craft when you're in this thing called agriculture or cattle business or whatever it's going to be. But before we get off and whatever, is roughly about 1,000 people looking at you now, Mr. Kennedy. And that's big time. So I want to make sure that before we get off this subject and kind of go back to some of those things I was talking about earlier, is how do people get in touch with you? And then on top of that, can you tell us about AUB Beef, the net? So I got it on my screen, but can you tell them what that's all about?
Yes, thank you. Well, AU Beef is a let me give you a little background story about AU Beef. Well, I had an epiphany about 3 or 4 years ago. I was selling cows when cows were bringing about $1. Steers at 500 pounds were bringing about $1.10, $1.20 a pound, and we were selling directly to the sale barn at that time. Mm-hmm. And I said, let me go buy me a steak. I was sitting down eating the steak one night, and I said, okay, just give me. I like New York strip steak. I said, give me a New York strip steak, and they say, well, what you want? I said, I'll take a 16 ounce. New York strip steak. And I said, how much is that? She said, $30. I'm like, wait a minute. I just sold some calves last week and I was getting $1.10 a pound. Now you're going to charge me $30 for a 16-ounce steak? I'm like, wow, okay, well, there's a disconnect here. Wait a minute. Well, I'm the farmer, I'm growing it. And yet, I'm only getting $1.10, $1.20 a pound, and I'm paying 30 something dollars for 16. I said, there's a disconnect. And so I started doing some research and okay, what's the disconnect here? And so therefore I started said, okay, I could see that the farmer is at the bottom end of this chain.
It's
how can I close that link?
Those 4 meat packers that's out there that's controlling everything.
Right. And so I started on a mission to say, okay, I want to be able to bring my own beef to market. Mm-hmm. And so, but as always, I say, I don't just want to bring beef. I want to bring quality beef. And so that's when I say I partner with, like I say, the land grant universities and to figure out how can I grow and produce quality beef. I just didn't want to grow beef. And then so that's when, going through the certain seminars that we have at Agri-Unity where we learned about how to select for marbling, how to select for ribeye side, how to select for fat, how to select bulls that's going to solve those problems in your herd. That if your cows are basically don't have the marbling or they don't have the fat or they don't have the right ribeye size, you can select certain bulls that'll help you achieve that goal. And so I started, first getting my herd up to quality, to a quality, I consider quality. So once I did that, and then I said, okay, I'm there. And then, working with Fort Valley, I would, like I say, work with Fort Valley, and they would say, okay, you think your cows are okay, so let's bring them in and we'll grade them. So Fort Valley this past year, we provided me an opportunity with some research, and I basically took a cow, got it slaughtered, and they brought their team out to evaluate my cow. And at that point, one that said, hey, handed you at prime. I had another one say, no, you ain't quite there. You at top choice, but you almost there.
But those two, Mr. Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken, because Walmart just did I think it's called sustainability. They kind of started their own meat processing place.
Yeah, right.
And that's 2 areas, that prime and that choice is the 2 type steaks that they actually looking for that they sell throughout the country.
Yeah.
So that's what you talking about is still very good beef that's out there.
Yeah,
you're not making hamburger.
Yeah. So if you at prime, so I'm happy with the process, but as I always say, that I just want to get better and better each year, and so so that's when I just decided to bring my own beef product out, AU beef. AU beef, and so we sell, we sell beef to friends and families, and directly from the farm, and we basically do it in what we consider conscious ranches type of process, where we make sure that we are stewards of the land. We want to make sure that we take care of the land and do it the right way. There's ways to raise cows, and there's and we try to do it the right way.
Some people just don't do it right. You're right. And if I remember my chemistry, AU stands for gold, right? So is this the gold standard?
Yeah, so we try to set the gold standard, and I mean that just gives you something to reach for, and we just want to keep, making progress every year and keep doing better and better. Because at the end of the day, we want to be able to provide our friends and family with a quality product.
Well, and Mr. Kennedy, as we close out this piece, because I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the show, but I'm so glad we had an opportunity to have you on here. For our audience right now, we roughly got about 1,500 people actually watching you live. I would tell you, after this thing go off, usually by 9 o'clock, 30-some thousand people will have downloaded this video, and that means that 30-some thousand people will know about your farm, know about your beef. With that being said, do you sell meat every day, or is it certain times out of the year when you slaughter cows and then people can order? I just want to get that out there for them.
Well, this year, this was my first year selling beef, so we started slow and said we're going to test the market. So we just slaughtered like 5 cows.
Okay.
And so this year, I'm happy. It's a family-owned ran business, and my nephew said, I said, hey, how many do we need to keep out this year? He said, hey, we can triple that amount. And so each year we keep going up. And so we sold out for the year, but we'll start back slowly at the beginning of the year. So we'll be taking pre-orders through our online store. So we hoping to wrap it. But the biggest thing is that I want to be able to offer the same model for anybody in the cow-calf operation. So I built AU Beef as a platform for I can teach and show everybody for their farms if they want to be able to take advantage of selling directly to consumers in their areas. What I want to do is teach them how to do it on their farm also. So that's what AU Beef is really about, is teaching farmers how to, like, you, Mr. Harris, hopefully in the future, we can, you can be selling beef to your friends and family in your community. And that's what I have a desire for all my farmers to do. That I can show you how to, where you have options, you can diversify your farm, where you can sell to the sale barn, you can sell to the backgrounder, you can sell to the butcher shop, and you can basically sell directly from your farm to your friends and family. So that's my vision for all small farmers, that we can do it and have a diversification of way of selling and marketing and have access for our beef in the future.
Well, Mr. Kennedy, I want to take the time and thank you personally. I want to thank you for all the roughly about 1,700 people that are actually watching live, because like you just said, you're not just out there trying to make some money or whatever. You're doing, hey, how can I share information to help other farmers get on their feet and learn how to do it the gold standard way?
Right.
Because I'm a firm believer, if you're going to get into the business, let's be the best. Don't have some raggedy stuff out there. Be the best, have the best looking farms, have all the best practices, and sell the best product that you can possibly have. Because at the end of the day, that product is actually representing your name, your image, your family, and many of us that are in the farm community, like you said, your farm started way back in 18 something. Tell that story one more time so the people that missed it understand that you just didn't get in farming yesterday. When did this farm start?
Our family pharmacy started in 1869.
1869. And if I'm not mistaken, something happened right around that time, like 4 years before that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm blessed to come from, good lineage. And, so that's why we talk about the land, the legacy, and the lineage. So we try to be able to pass this down to the next generation. So that's my vision, to be able to leave a profitable farm to the next generation. If they decide to farm or get into the cattle business, they say, hey, I can make a living in this. And that's my vision, to do that. And I think,
well, Mr. Kennedy, let me thank you again for coming on the show. I know we had one or two gremlins on the front end, but that's what makes it fun. That's what makes it live. That's what says you have to think. And in this cattle business or in agriculture, if you're not thinking, then you're not farming. And so we're going to go back. So again, thank you. When I get over to Tuskegee this afternoon and I see Warren, the first thing I'm going to say to him when I step out the truck was, I was talking to Mr. Kennedy this morning. He gave out some great knowledge, some great golden nuggets. I hope that everybody throughout the United States start buying beef from you. And you have to come back on the show and say, Shawn, slow down, man. They buying too much beef.
From us. I want every farm to have this opportunity to sell their beef. When we create that quality product, customers will come. Well, thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, team, let's go back to the beginning of the show. and I think my team is telling me that we have the snap video working. So we'll, for the audience who didn't catch it at the very beginning, we had some gremlins that jumped in this show and we couldn't get any of our videos to work. So we had to jump to our guest, and Mr. Kennedy did an awesome job. I tell you, he's a mentor of mine, and I just thank him for coming in this morning. We'll get more guests that are going to come in and talk about different subjects. Right now, roughly about 2,000 people are watching us. We're going to run through these things because I think it's very important, and then we're going to end the show in probably about another 10 minutes. So if you just stick with me, let's run it, guys. Let's tell them what SNAP really is.
SNAP, food stamps. SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Well, whatever you're thinking, you might be wrong. 42 million Americans could lose their grocery money on this Friday Now, think about it this way. There's 348 million Americans, and about 42 million Americans are on SNAP, and that's about 12% of our population. About 1 in 8 Americans use SNAP benefits. Let's take a look at who they are. 40% of people on SNAP are children. 16 million kids rely on SNAP. 1.2 million veterans rely on SNAP. And here's something that's interesting. 22,000 active duty military families rely on SNAP. Yes, people actually serving our country rely on food stamps. 1.5 million college students are on SNAP, and 8 million seniors rely on SNAP to help them make ends meet. Now, you may have heard that people have said that illegal immigrants are using SNAP. That's not true. However, 1.5 million legal immigrants, like long-term green card holders, are on SNAP. Rules were changed in July, so people who are refugees or asylum seekers, they can't access SNAP anymore. And here's the kicker. About a third of SNAP households have someone who is working a job. They just aren't making enough money to make ends meet. How much do they get? Well, the average SNAP benefit is $188 a month. That means they have $6 a day for groceries. So this isn't getting cut because there's no money. There's a $6 billion emergency fund the government could use, but the Trump administration and the Republicans are against it. So when this hits on Friday, 42 million people, 1 in 8 Americans, children, veterans, seniors, active military families, will lose a safety net, and for some, it could be a lifeline. Food banks have already said they can't handle what's going to happen. In fact, no one can. Oh, you might be wondering, how much of our federal budget goes to SNAP? Well, it's only about 1.5% of the entire budget. That means $288 a year Americans pay to support people who need SNAP. So, do you know someone who is on SNAP? Are you on SNAP? Can you share your story? And do you think $288 a year is too much for us to be paying to support children, seniors, veterans, and active military families? Leave your comments below. And follow me. I'm Sue O'Connell. I'm a commentator, and you can watch me on NBC10Boston.com and YouTube.com/NBC10Boston.
All right. You know, guys, I know that was a little long, but at the end of the day, I wanted you to know the facts about SNAP. I thought she did the best job out of everything that I've seen all week. This show is not political at all. I just want both sides to come together, get it fixed. It is some concern that if I'm not mistaken, the House is not in session. So if they try to get to some agreements, I'm not sure how they're going to be able to pull that off. But hopefully, let's pray that they get it all figured out. Let's play the other snap, because I think it's also important that people understand that this, when you don't receive your SNAP, it's very personal. So let's play that clip, please.
There's no way I can afford a turkey and to cook extra stuff here. There's no way I can do it. And I doubt very much if food pantries are going to give you a turkey. It's very heartbreaking.
Do you wake up worried that you and your family could go hungry?
Yes. I can't afford all the bills in this house. And I can't get out of my lease until March. So I'm just totally screwed.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure if y'all guys know my story. I didn't come from a whole bunch of money. But when I see stuff like that, it just hurts me to my heart that we're playing games today, because here it is. Like I said earlier in the beginning of the show, this is Halloween is today. Tomorrow is November 1st, and then we get into the Thanksgiving and the holiday season, and people worry that are they going to be able to feed them their families. And that was a senior citizen that was talked about, and we just got to get this figured out. And like I mentioned earlier, this SNAP program could be paid for out of funds that are inside of the USDA. But we'll see how things play out. Let's move on just real quickly. We roughly got about 2,300 people looking at us right now, and I want to make sure that I respect their time because we've now been on for 46 minutes. That's a little bit longer than any other show that we've done, but we had some gremlins jump on us. But I do want to go on and talk about, because big time today, this week, we had the president. He went to China. We think we got a China deal. But let's go on and play this clip real quick here, and then I'll talk about it on the backside.
But 3 cargoes of beans. It's not a lot, but some would say, hey, it's a start. But the bean market opened the day trading down. Just so everybody knows, we're recording this on Wednesday morning. The market is currently down. Why?
Because they could have bought, the way the bean market rallied from last week to this week, they could have bought 30 cargoes for that rally, and 3 is not going to get it done. They could buy 3 every day for 20 days. The truth is they have to buy some. Half is a pretty strong. There's a very much a good chance they have to buy beans from us November, December, January, just to fill that gap between now and South America. So if they say, oh, China's going to buy 10, they used to buy 20. It's a lose. So if you know how to do the math, and there's some really smart people out here who know how to do the math, and they're like, wait, this year they bought this much, that year they bought this much.
Yeah.
Now they're going to cut a deal, and our administration is going to come out and act like it's the biggest deal since sliced bread. And if you're smart, like that deal yesterday with Japan signed a whopper of a deal. It was less than they did the year before.
Yeah, it was $8 billion in egg commodities, and that's what they've been. That's not
right. Trump got a putter, and Rollins got a tweet. Right. It's I don't want to say fake news, but it's entertaining here.
China. And the reason why I just show that because I think it's important for us as farmers, for us as American citizens, to understand that these deals that we're getting right now sound good. They may turn out better in the future if they continue to grow, but currently right now, today, it's less than what we were getting last year or the year before. And one of the reasons why we started this show is to talk directly to farmers, to get their voices out there, and then educate others that are not living on the farm. And as you can see, when it comes to this soybean deal that we have with Japan, or we've got with China or whoever, we're actually getting less than what we actually had before. Let's let Secretary Rollins tell us what's going on here.
Yes, sir. Are you satisfied with the commitments of the President of Argentina after his visit? It seems that you expressed some concern about purchase of soy from China or to China. Are you concerned with Argentina? Do you think they could make any amends to the reservations that you have?
I believe they are still in conversation right now, the two teams. Obviously President Milei is a warrior for freedom. What he has been able to do in leading his country and how important that partnership is to America. I don't want to say too much and get out of my lane of soybeans and corn and sorghum and cotton and blueberries, but I will say that I obviously trust the president, our team, Secretary Bessent, Jameson Greer, et cetera. This is a long game. We are not just putting America first, making America great again, saving the country. We're also working to realign the world around peace and peace through strength, and having those partners out across the world are so important. And the idea that we will find these markets for our soybean farmers, we'll find the markets for our sorghum farmers, et cetera. But what the president and his leadership is just remarkable on all of this. So I am extremely confident and extremely satisfied.
I would tell you, I really hope and pray that we do find the markets, because I know too many soybean farmers that are in the hurt locker right now. And I hadn't had a chance to look at Farm Journal and other ag news and different things this morning. But I think if you go out and look at those things, they're not going to be too happy, because what we have now is we are selling some, but it's way less than what we actually sold last year. So it's going to be some farmers that are going to be left holding the bag. And let's just go on and let the president tell us what he thought about his meeting with the Chinese. Go ahead.
Today's meeting between President Trump and Chinese President Xi. It was announced that China had finally bought multiple ships of U.S. soybeans. I'm Clinton Griffiths. Ag Secretary Brooke Rollins confirming the buy, calling it a positive step forward for U.S. farmers. Ag News' Michelle Rook is following this for us. Michelle, how many shiploads are we talking about here?
Clinton, so far, 3 cargoes have been confirmed sold to China's COFCO. These are the first U.S. soybean export sales of the 2025-26 marketing year, and it's hoped the first of many included in a new China trade framework. While it may be too late for China to match the 830 million bushels of U.S. soybeans that they bought in the last marketing year, any sales are welcomed. While market reaction was muted, China made its first purchase of U.S. new crop soybeans. Sources reporting COFCO bought 180,000 metric tons or 6.6 million bushels through the PNW. Our partners at Pro Farmer say they're a goodwill gesture.
They did something pretty similar back in the 2018-2019 trade talks. They bought 4 cargoes basically the day before negotiations then. So this is, it's a part of their playbook.
However, Acre adds these are also value buys. Even with the recent rally, U.S. soybean futures are below Brazil's price.
U.S. soybeans are pretty competitive on the world market right now. Brazil knew that they were the only game in town for China soybeans for a long time, and the premiums and FOB prices reflected that. And U.S. prices are still fairly competitive. And, if they got the green light to start buying U.S. beans, I think that's a good sign and could point to some agreement being made.
President Trump has been upbeat about a deal with China to be announced on Thursday.
I'm very optimistic. I am. And I know a little bit about what's going on because, we have been talking to them, not just walking into a meeting cold, but the relationship with China is very good. So I think we're going to have a very good outcome for our country and for the world.
Speculation is running high on details, but Chinese traders say Beijing could take about 8 million tons, or roughly $4 billion of U.S. beans for its strategic reserves for Dece to May. U.S. market analysts are more optimistic. The U.S. could fill China's needs for December and January before Brazil's crop comes online.
The market seems to be pricing in about 10 million metric tons. That's what the rumor mill is saying right now. So that'd be about 360 million bushels.
Acre says with this demand and a possible cut in soybean yields, he thinks USDA may need to lower their tight 300 million bushel ending stocks figure from September.
We're looking at ending stocks at about 250 million bushels. That's the tightest level that we've seen in several years. And we're $3 below where we were when ending stocks were that tight. And the market really hasn't reflected that. I think a lot of that has been some skepticism about what demand's going to be, what exports are going to be.
Acre cautions that while soybeans are undervalued, that doesn't suggest a $3 rally because of global competition. But China business will help. I'm Michelle Rook reporting for Ag Day.
Yeah, as you can see, we still got a ways to go. I'll let it play out this week and see, will our soybean farmers be whole? I'm concerned that will Brazil now, because we're back in the game, where they try to lower their prices on soybeans and try to get around us and have China buy it from them. Right now, let me just stop again and say thank you. Roughly about 3,230 people are actually watching right now. So I just want to say thank you. And I want to touch one more thing before we get off. I know today is a little bit longer than normal, but for the people that maybe just jumped on, we had some gremlins that jumped on us, so we had to do the show in a little bit of reverse, and I'll be remiss if I didn't talk cattle, because if you don't know, cattle industry is what I'm actually involved in. And right now, the cattle industry is still in the hurt locker, because we actually, beef is high at the grocery store, but the way that we're trying to address it, or the way the president is trying to address it, is actually hurting cattle producers on the ground. So, and the two things don't match up. And then on top of that, everything, I won't be able to get into it too much today, but we'll come back to it. Everything in this cattle market is really controlled by 4 meat markets that are actually meat processing centers that are actually out there. And those 4 meat processing organizations out there pretty much control everything. So with that, let's go on to our last clip and talk about what's going on in the cattle world, and we'll close this show out today. I don't have any sound, guys. Look like the gremlins are still jumping on us there. Don't have any sound. Let me just go. I'll just talk and close us out. It's one of those days. Again, thank you. What's going on in the cattle business? Because I actually live it. And if you can get it,
bringing in beef from foreign countries is going to bring down the prices. I think something we like to say is here in the United States, we raise the safest, best protein on the planet. We want to continue to do that. We think you bring in some of that foreign beef, the only ones that'll benefit are the big four packers and the importers by buying it in a cheaper market and selling it in a much higher market. So we respectfully disagree and really push for U.S. beef to raise up their numbers.
Has the president been responsive to the pushback that you and your membership and others here in the United States have signaled to him?
We have reached out, I think, put in requests to discuss other options and some of the things that can benefit raising the cattle numbers. We're at historic low numbers due to quite a few different things, drought, prices, lots of things have come to kind of make quite a special number here where we're as low in cattle numbers we've been since the 1960s.
Wow. All right. So you no doubt have seen this. The president addressed cattle ranchers directly in a post on Truth Social last week. He said if it weren't for him, the industry would be doing terribly, and that you, meaning you and your members and other cattle ranchers in this country, have to get your prices down. And I'm putting up the quote here so people can actually see. He says it would be nice if they, meaning the cattle ranchers, would understand that, but they also have to get their prices down because the consumer is a very big factor in my thinking also. What was your reaction and your reaction to other ranchers when you saw this?
We definitely understand. We were seeing some of the best prices we've ever seen in the cattle industry, and prices are high. But prices are now just finally catching up to the cost of production for a lot of these people, and finally making some of these producers a living wage. We've been on break-even prices for a long, long time, and we finally get them up there where we can make a living and try to make sure that generational ranching can continue. We would argue we're not sure the beef is too high. $6.50 for a pound of hamburger versus, say, a latte or a coffee in the morning for $6 or $7, or a bag of potato chips for $5 or $6. The nutritional value in beef much higher.
Justin, when you put it that way, I think a lot of people will see and agree with you. $6.50 for a pound of beef, of hamburger beef, compared to a latte sounds pretty reasonable to me too. Thank you very much, Justin. I'm hoping this gets resolved and that I appreciate what you said about the generational aspect of farming in this country, not just for cattle ranchers, but across this country, which is in peril now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hey guys, as you can see, the cattle industry, like everything else, is struggling right now. Things are going extremely well when it comes to prices that we're getting for sales. But however, based on what's currently going on, trying to run down the price of beef and bring in beef from Argentina has already started making beef fall when we sell it. My guest, Mr. Kennedy, talked about, I'm not sure if you caught it, but if you would, when you look at it later, Mr. Kennedy talked about years ago when he was selling beef, he was only getting like $1 and something a pound. That's what we try not to go back to. We're trying to make it where people can actually stay in farming and actually make a difference here. So think about that. And when you go out and get your coffee this morning, think about when Starbucks or somebody say, okay, $6 or $7, think about that compared to a pound of beef and what it took to that American farmer or American rancher to get out there and raise that cow for you. So with that, I just want to thank everybody this morning. We had some hiccups here and there, which is fine. But when I look at the screen, this is the first time that we actually been on for 1 whole hour, and 10 minutes would be 10 seconds would be 1 whole hour. But again, right now, 3,720 people are watching us live. So with that being said, if you see me at Tuskegee this weekend, say hi. You'll probably find me out on the farm. I'm going to be also looking at some cattle there. But on top of that, the cup is empty. Have a great week. Thank you. This is Voices from the Dirt Road. Have a great day.